Have you ever gone to a restaurant or a grocery store and seen beef labeled as prime, choice, and select and wondered, why is that prime steak more expensive? Let's talk about it. Howdy, my name is Drew Cassens, Extension Meat Specialist for the Department of Animal Science. Today, we're going to talk about beef quality grades. Now, beef quality grades are really important to helping us get an idea as to the overall palatability expectations for our beef products. Our beef quality grades that we have in the U.S. are prime, choice, select, and standard, as well as commercial, utility, cutter, and canner, with prime being the highest and best possible quality grade a beef carcass can get. Beef carcasses at the plant are going to be separated between the 12th and 13th rib to determine that USDA quality grade. Now, these USDA quality grades are determined by the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. Beef processing plants are paying for this voluntary service and it is not required to receive a USDA quality grade on beef. The criteria the USDA grader is looking at when assigning those USDA quality grades are maturity and marbling. Maturity is going to be the overall age of the animal at the time of harvest. Now, the reason this is important is because as animals get older, they tend to get a lot tougher. There's two ways for us to look at and identify the potential age of that animal by utilizing the carcass. Those two are the skeletal maturity and lean maturity. Skeletal maturity is looking at the amount of bone ossification, or essentially is the transition of cartilage into bone. When looking at this, we're going to evaluate the thoracic vertebrae, and at the thoracic vertebrae, we have the cartilage buttons at the very tip of those. A younger carcass will have cartilage present at those buttons, compared to an older carcass would have bone present at those cartilage buttons. The second factor to utilize to determine maturity is the lean maturity. With lean maturity, we're going to look at the ribeye muscle that's exposed to the 12th rib. A younger carcass will be identified as one that's more bright cherry red. As animals get older, the muscle is going to be a lot darker in overall color. The other factor utilized to determine a quality grade will be that marbling, or the intramuscular fat, which is going to be the white specks of fat we see inside the actual muscle. A carcass that has a greater amount or a higher degree of that intramuscular fat is going to be a more tender and more juicy product. And so that grader will go and evaluate exactly how much marbling is in that ribeye and assign what's referred to as a marbling score. That marbling score is then utilized with the maturity to give an overall quality grade. So this picture here of this ribeye would have enough marbling to have a marbling score of a slight degree of marbling, which will correlate to a select quality grade. This ribeye here would be a small degree of marbling, which will correlate to a low choice quality grade. Next we have is a modest degree of marbling, which would be a average choice. A moderate degree of marbling being high choice. And lastly, a slightly abundant degree of marbling being a low prime. Within our prime and our choice quality grade, we can break those up into high, average, and low. Within choice, our average and high choice carcasses will receive a premium due to the fact that majority of those carcasses would qualify for a certified beef program. Within the U.S., roughly about 10 to 12% of beef carcasses graded will grade a USDA prime. 73 to 75% grade USDA choice, and about 10 to 13% will grade a USDA select. So when thinking about this, prime has the highest amount of intramuscular fat or marbling, which gives it that nice tender, juicy appearance. Additionally, with it being the lowest percent being produced in the U.S., showcases why sometimes prime products tend to be a little bit more expensive compared to other quality grades. So, next time that you're at the retail store or a restaurant, Hopefully you have learned that that prime steak that you have there is going to result in a better overall eating experience due to that high marbling content. When you're at the grocery store, make sure you take the time to really evaluate and look at how much marbling is in each one of those steaks. That way, you can have the next best eating experience at your barbecue. For more resources, go to meat.tamu.edu.